Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Yeah, now we can kick off back into Wheel of Time world. This is Everybody Hates Rand. It's your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I am Emily Jushaw.
I am Sally Goodger.
And here we are. We have entered, and I really do need to get one of those apps that makes air horn noises. I swear I say this every time, but
I might have one. Hold on.
We're in climax territory. And yes, you can smile, because climax is a double entendre for sex stuff.
I think I deleted my air horn.
Oh, no.
Because I needed to clearly... Hold on, I guess I can just search it. Air horn sound. Okay. There we go.
That wasn't as exciting. I wanted to be like, meow, 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 meow.
Sorry.
It's okay.
The app that I had, you could tap it and it would do that.
Yeah, that was
pretty
nice.
funny.
I should get that app, too. Except my phone's about to fucking die,
Well,
so...
Emily has like an iPhone 3, so...
I don't!
Emily's phone is old.
It's not that old. I got it 2 years ago.
I feel like that is a lie. I don't feel
3
like you've
years,
gotten a
maybe?
new phone since I've known you.
Yeah, that was a new phone. I got it. I came back from New York and had to get a new phone. Not like from our 2-year stint in New York, but a few months into my New York.
It's a 3-year-old phone.
It's a 3-year-old phone, I guess, and I'm pretty amazed it's lasted this long. And technically it still lasted, and I will, Steve Jobs, this is for you, get my money's worth out of that phone. I will keep it until it literally no longer turns on.
You sound like my mom.
Well, I don't want to drop another $1,000 on an iPhone right when we're moving. I mean, come on. Okay,
let's talk about Wheel of Time. Hi, Tybalt.
Yeah, so 2 chapters today. First one is News Comes to Kyrian, and the second one is titled Ominously Choices.
He looks so funny when he yawns.
He's just
And his eyes look so crazy.
a little bastard. We're mostly occupying Rand's point of view, but notably we bounce around quite a bit to other, like, short points of view. We catch up with Rand as he's been in Kyrian for a few days, a few weeks, hard to tell exactly. But
I think it's been 10 days.
Does
I think
it?
he
You
says
probably...
at some point it's been 10 days.
Sally's so good at remembering that type of thing. And literally when the chapter starts, he's, like, standing out on a balcony to smoke, to do his fantasy vaping.
Yeah.
And a woman named Saland?
Yeah, she's pushing her titties up against
She's
his
like,
arm.
have you noticed that I have titties? And he's like, I did, thank you. And apparently she is one of many young women who has tried to, in Wheel of Time words, bed him. Seduce him, I guess, is a more palatable way of saying that.
Yeah, she's like he says she's like the 20th or something.
He says she's not even the 20th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? It's been 10 days.
And so that means like at least 2 to 4 women a day are trying to fuck him.
Oh my god.
Like, it would be such a power move if Rand just fucked all of them. Like, in a different world, a different Rand Althor. He's like, I'm
She's like, sure. And then sends them away. Because they're all sent by this woman, Colavir.
Yeah.
Her name, I always forget. Colavir, who's one of the high-ranking Kyrianan nobility, who's just trying to, like, you know, get her fingers on him, essentially. And Rand is resisting by, you know, doing the least efficient thing possible, which is just sort of frightening these women whenever he can. He's like, if I yell at them to go away, then if I, you know, assert myself and state clearly, then they'll just find ways to come back. And I'm like...
Consent means nothing in Wheel World, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, that's gross and disgusting, but also, like, you have the maidens as bodyguards.
Just don't let them come near you.
Yeah, just be
I'm sure Sulin would be delighted.
Sulin, keep away any strange women, please. Sulin would be like, great, love this. Especially because the maidens are already turning away women who are trying to sneak into his bedroom in the middle of the night. Or Avienda is violently assaulting women who don't necessarily have a choice in the matter, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, a not great situation overall. I definitely don't agree with Rand's method of just intimidating women. As we've talked about before, Rand has a bad habit of using his power and his height and everything about himself to just scare women willy-nilly. Sorry, Tibble is playing with his fish. Of course.
It's just making, like, funny rustling noises. I doubt the mic even catches it. It's just making me laugh. Yeah, Rand's just, like, really big into using his physicality against women.
Yeah.
And it's like, ew.
Did you want to play fetch? Hey. Notably, Celand will be one of Fael's weird hangers-on later. She's one of the young Kyrianan and Terrans, I guess, who decide to pick up the customs of the Ale, i.e. culturally appropriate everything that the Ale do without really participating in the culture's nuances themselves. So she'll be around, is the weird thing. Colivir will not. She'll be dead within 2 books. Rip her. We find out Rand, this was alluded to, I think, in the last few chapters, but Rand is slowly setting the chessboard, as it were, in order to get an attack on Samael. He's sending forces south. He's just kind of waiting for the moment to attack Ilion once everyone gets into place, which is obviously very slow, and Samael is still killing and terrorizing people as this happens. But, such is life, I guess.
Tibble did one run across the living room, and now he is exhausted.
He's so tired. God. But Rand does his usual thing of dismissing the nobility. He's basically like, they're all plotting against me. Get out of here. Just like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Then Moiraine, Avienda, and Edwene enter, bearing 2 letters from Aleda and Alviren, who is Aleda's keeper. If you're having a tough time keeping track of the millions of Aes Sedai names, like most people would be.
Listen, I've read the sequence in Path of Daggers where they, like, use the Bowl of the Winds, and it is like there is objectively, like, at least 300 women named in these chapters, and I was like, I know, what do you want me to
keep track?
Do with this, Robert?
How does it help me? It doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, we know Aleda isn't a dark friend, but she is deeply incompetent. Alviren is fairly competent, but is a dark friend.
Pick your poison.
Pick your poison. Aleda has sent a letter to Rand being like, fuck you, I'm going to send you an escort to bring you to the White Tower. Mm-hmm. Alviren has sent a letter that's extremely flowery and reads like, someone worshipping a cult leader. Like a, she reads like she's about to do a Manson murder or something like that. She's nutso, but she's also like, I can guide you, just let me help you. And Rand reads these, is like, well, fun. Super great. And Moiraine's like, pop quiz, what do you think's going on here? And Rand's like, well, obviously the White Tower is separated into factions already. And they're going to send some ladies, but I can't do anything about it except stay away from those ladies. And Moiraine's like, check, you pass.
Good job, Rand.
Good job, Rand. You'll do okay. Moiraine, these entire 2 chapters, is speaking to people like she's on her deathbed.
I know, and everyone's just like, that's a little odd.
Everyone's just like, Moiraine. She could only have made it more obvious if she started, like, giving gifts to people, which she gives Rand a letter.
Yeah.
And one for Tom, and she's like, just for when you have time to think. And he's like,
when?
What? What are you talking about?
It would have been so funny if she was like, Egg, I leave you my eavesdropping tiara.
Egg, this is for you. Matt, nothing for you. You wouldn't want anything from me. My gift to you is that you'll never see me again.
Matt's like,
oh, wait.
Excellent. And then she's like, haha, actually you will come in and rescue me.
Rescue me.
Come on and rescue me.
What song is that?
I can't remember what it's called. It's in the Sister Act soundtrack, I think.
Damn. So that's some of the news coming to Kyrian. And before Moiraine can really get into quizzing him a little bit more, Matt shows up. And they're like, Matt's here to see you, per your request. And Rand is like, I requested his presence 4 hours ago. 4 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's like, I can't wait to see what his excuse is. And Matt was like, oh, I was fully gambling.
Matt's like, I was definitely playing cards. Fuck you. Asmodean, by the way, is here. This entire scene is just sort of a given at this point. Asmodean is setting the mood music, but, you know. Matt comes in is like, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Very John Ralphie.
And Rand's like, I hear your band of the Red Hand is doing astounding things. And Matt's like, yeah, I wish they wouldn't call it that.
I wish they wouldn't, though.
I wish that, yeah, the whole subtext here is that Matt did literally try to run away on a horse to Andor, and Talmanese and Nahshon just were like, time to go to battle. He's leading us to battle. And so Matt just sort of like replayed what just happened in Kyrian, but with Andor.
Yeah. Did actually get into like 3 different battles. And won all of them.
Won all of them, and now there are tons of recruits coming in for the self-titled Band of the Red Hand. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's deeply comical. Matt's like, time to go, and his 2 boyfriends were like, yeehaw!
All right, time to go. Us and our armies. Moiraine, of course, starts intimidating Matt, which Rand has designed to have the women be here while Matt is there because of how he reacts to them. He's just like, this will soften him up, and Matt's just like getting angrier and angrier like a tomcat. But anyway, during the course of this conversation, Matt says, all I really need is for Nynaeve and Elaine to be here, but I'm glad Elaine's not here to hear the news. And Rand's like, what news? And Matt's like, you haven't heard?
You haven't heard?
You have Moiraine, you haven't heard about this? And she's like, shut the fuck up, what's going on? He's like, well, Morgause is dead.
Yeah, and then Rand goes into a brief rage disassociation, because he's like, oh, I can't believe they let Morgause die. And it's like, you fully could have... Not, I mean, A, she's not actually dead, but B, you fully could have made different decisions.
His whole thing is like, Elaine will never forgive me for letting her mother die, and it's just like, I mean, first of all, it's the classic example of women's deaths or women's pain being used to further Rand's own emotional plot, or in this case, the literal plot, because his instant reaction is, well, we've got to go raid Caemlyn to kill Robin. And it's like, so you could have been doing this the entire time, but you're just like, nah. To Samael, too?
Yeah.
I mean, we have already discussed at length how gross Rand's decision was to not step in to help Morgause. It was just sort of like...
He's like, it's too predictable. It's what they think I'm going to do.
Yeah, and it's like, you're Ta'Veren.
The whole point is that you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but it's, frustrating that they don't weaponize their plot armor more ways. We do get a little bit closer toward it with Rand. Eventually, Matt agrees to go to Caemlyn with Rand, and Rand's like, oh, that's great, because 2 Ta'Veren in one place means we'll twist fate even further. Although Matt lasts about 10 seconds into Caemlyn before he gets died. Murdered.
And then undied.
And then undead.
Well, that's fun. Matt's technically a zombie.
Matt's technically a zombie. Discuss.
I think that's bold and sexy of him. To be technically undead.
Matt, the OG sexy zombie.
Yeah.
Poor Asmodean goes through a cycle of dead, undead, and then dead again within like 3 days.
Oh, God bless him.
I know.
Asmodean.
Oh, Asmodean.
Rest in pieces, my good bitch.
But Rand's like, we gotta go to Caemlyn, and Moiraine's like, not tonight, let's go tomorrow. And Rand's like, fine, that's sensible, we'll go tomorrow. You're all dismissed.
Not you, Matt.
Not you, Matt gets up to go, and they're like, no. He's like, Matt, stay.
Good boy.
Good boy. And then Rand's like, okay, Moiraine can come with me, but Avienda and Edwene, you obviously cannot go with me because I need you here. And Avienda and Edwene do the classic Robert Jordan move of making all the correct points. And Rand is just like, no.
Yeah, it's classic where Robert Jordan is like, these are objectively the correct points, where Avienda is like, you can't control what decisions I make, or whatever she even says.
I just like, are you my dad?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, but Robert Jordan has it written as such where it's obviously like they are being unreasonable because it's through Rand's point of view.
Yeah, however many times you make the correct points in your book, unless the narrative backs up those points, it might as well not exist. Yes. It's ridiculous. So, like, you can't stop us, and Rand is like, I mean, technically I can't stop them. And Moiraine's like, I mean, it's smarter to let them come. They're both stronger than I am, and what if one of the female Forsaken is there? And he's like, fine, Mom. I'm only stupid. Then the ladies do leave. And Rand's like, Matt, I need you to stop running away. And Matt is like, no.
Never.
Shut up and listen, Rand says. You have to stop running. Matt says, burn me if I will. Absolutely not. And Rand is like, listen, I know you have shit in your head, but I have to use it now. So basically, no longer is Rand even pretending to give Matt a choice. There's been this whole, like, ongoing thing between them where Rand is like, do whatever you want, and has never outright said to us that he just sort of trusts fate to bring Matt back to him, or that he cares what happens to Matt. But now, as soon as he has designated a useful set of skills that Matt has, he's like, I do need him, and I am going to physically force him to stay. So their friendship has turned into a horror show. Then we switch over to Egg for some reason, and basically all we get from her is that she's nervous about tomorrow. And it's like, okay, bye. Great.
I'm also nervous about tomorrow.
I'm also nervous about tomorrow. Matt could be in danger. That's all I care about. But actually, Matt's in danger right now because he returns to his rooms, more implying that he was trying to run away when he accidentally ran into a battle. We have his absolutely iconic line, because Rand has instructed him that he needs to ride south and sort of head up Rand's forces that are going to go eventually attack Ilion. Good morrow, High Lord Waremon and all you other High Lords and ladies. I'm a gambler from away, and I'm here to take command of your bloody army. It's incredible.
It's a great line. Also, especially because he says it to himself. It's classic Matt, just like talking to himself.
Lots of Matt chatting with himself. He throws his spear at one point. Just sort of like physically,
unhappy,
working through his emotions.
In your fantasy, dream about me.
Yeah, Carly Rae Jepsen is playing as Melindra walks in and is like, what's up? And we find out now that Kadir is in the shipyards, essentially waiting for ships, it says, but we also know he's spying on Rand. This is only relevant because of geographical positioning later in the next chapter. But Matt's like, I'm going away to Tyr, and he says something about Rand going to Camelin. So Melinda's like, Rand's going to Camelin? And Matt's like, no.
Like, no, I just made that up.
No, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to know that.
You're not supposed to ask me questions.
Please don't. And she very quickly attacks him, like, kicks him super hard.
She kicks him in the damn head.
She kicks him in, like, the stomach and then the head, so he just kind of goes sprawling. And when he gets his vision back, he sees she's pulling out a knife, so he pulls out a knife and throws it at her first. So she is dying. He goes over to her. She once again tries to stab him while he's leaning over her, but it catches his medallion and the knife literally breaks. And she says, you have the great lord's own luck. Mm-hmm. So that later Matt is like, oh fuck, only dark friends call him the great lord. That's what this was. It wasn't just like a she suddenly snapped and decided to
betrayed or whatever that
to
show is.
murder me. Yeah. Crazy lady. So he sort of pieces together that she is from Samael and that he has attracted the Forsaken's attention. I think piecing together what's going on with the Forsaken, it was probably like Samael was like, go kill him because that will maybe finally motivate Rand to come after me in vengeance. You know, the Forsaken do want him to go after Samael the way he's about to go after Robin. So it's just kind of a hilarious turn of events that instead he's like, Robin! Robin!
And Nynaeve was like, could you chill?
Nynaeve was like, oh my god, bigger fish to fry.
Bigger fries to fish. In the fry ocean. You catch the French fry by putting a fish on your fry pole.
What? And then the fish, like, gets it in its mouth and you pull it out and there's some fries? Or, like, the fries are sentient and are like, eat the fish?
I don't know. What's more horrifying?
I've learned to fish in Final Fantasy. It's very fun.
Okay.
So I just looked that impressed. Next chapter we get 2 choices. Literally. We wake up and there's, you know, some of the classic sitcom Rand and Aviendha being attracted to each other and blah, 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 blah. Then Asmodean shows up and is like, I want to go with you. Rand's like, I don't think that's a great idea. And Asmodean's like, well, how else am I going to prove that I'm, like, on your side? And Rand's like, fine, but I'll be watching you. And Asmodean's like, you're always watching me. Mike Wazowski. Nothing has changed. You can watch me die, Rand.
Twice.
God, well, I think he's alone the second time, yeah. He just is like, where'd Asmodean go?
Where'd Asmodine go?
What the... Then Rand walks out and finds Matt hanging out there. Matt is like, Melinda's dead, I had to kill her last night, blah, 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 Forsaken stuff. Rand's like, aw, dunk. Sorry, Matt. And Matt's like, well, I mean, it was her or me, so... Matt is, I mean, torn up about the fact that he had to kill, quote-unquote, a woman. I think it would have been interesting if the book had emphasized the fact that she was a woman who he was having sex with.
Yeah, because that, I was going to bring up the same point. That is a much deeper trauma.
Yeah. That's like...
I assume a woman I've had sex with has never tried to kill me. I don't know, but it sounds pretty traumatizing.
Yeah, I mean, that would be horrifying. And it's like, there's a difference, obviously, between a random woman trying to kill you and a woman who you have a relationship with trying to kill you. Like, that seems to be the more important factor here.
Yeah.
But of course, because it's Robert Jordan, the emphasis is that she's a woman. And Matt's like, I've never killed a woman before. And it's like, you've also never killed anyone who you were fucking before. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's really freaky.
So, again, it's like, we finally have someone whose reaction to killing a woman is justified, but the reaction is justified for the wrong reasons in the text. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's acceptable that Matt is upset and grieves this in his way because he was having sex with her. But, Robert's like, it's just because she had a vagina. Gotta love it, Robert.
2 titties equals tragedy.
It's really just the fact that the titties are now lost.
Yeah, we lost 2 titties today.
The Napoleon inside but it's someone inside their bra clasping their titty.
We lost 2 titties today.
We lost 2 titties today in the service of the nation. Oh,
man. Lord.
God. Graveyard for tits.
Horrifying. All the tombstones look like boobs.
A titty graveyard. It's like the elephant graveyard. Okay, I will not title this episode Titty Graveyard.
Or will she?
2 on the nose.
I mean, we do lose a lot of titties in this chapter.
We do.
Lanfear is objectively very good titties.
Yeah,
Spoiler
exactly.
alert, I guess.
So they're walking out. Matt again is like, I'll go to Camelin with you. They walk out to meet the other ladies. Moiraine's like, here, have some letters and just think about them. And Rand's like, what's happening?
She's like, I think we should go to the water.
She's like, there's something I need to show you down by the docks. And Rand's like, we are sort of on like a time-sensitive mission here. And sort of the others convince him, you know, it's probably better if Robin spies see you out and about so he doesn't suspect you're about to attack him. Mm-hmm. He's like, fine.
Only 1 hour, though.
We then cut to Kadir, the gross dark friend, sister, murderer fella, who's down by the docks. He alerts us to the fact that Rand and co. are around, going past the docks. And he's thinking about how he wants to kind of corner Asmodee to get some, like, intel on what he needs to be doing, what his next orders are. Mm-hmm. When who should appear but, I don't even know how to pronounce her name, Kelly?
I guess.
Kelly, his former partner, who we know was just Lanfear in disguise, but he just thought disappeared, I guess.
Yeah.
She shows up and is like, let's chat. He's like, yeah, great. She turns into Lanfear. He's like, and she's like, tell me what's going on. And he starts to tell her, and all we know as the readers is that she's getting progressively more upset. Then we cut back to Rand as Kadir's wagon blows up. And Lanfear walks out like, who's Avienda?
She also throws the skin that she ripped off
is
of Kadir into
dragging
the sky.
His skin behind her, which is... Okay, like, it's so disgusting.
Yeah, it's foul.
It is horrifying, but it's also like... I mean, that's a striking visual.
Yeah, it is a striking visual.
We'll give it that. It is, like, it's pretty nice in a way to see Lanfear unhinged.
Yeah.
In a way that we recognize, I guess. It's not Lanfear's whole thing. Lanfear's whole shtick is annoying. Her obsession with Rand, her possessiveness of Rand, the fact that she goes off the chain as soon as she finds out that Rand has fucked somebody else. That's all very annoying.
I mean, allegedly. It's just like what Kadir is saying.
One dude's report, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm pretty sure they're fucking based on the way Avienda looks at him. And Lanfear's like, that's enough for me!
Lanfear's like, time to blow things up and skin the messenger alive, literally.
Don't skin the messenger.
Don't skin the messenger.
Please.
And then drag his skin through the streets as like a grotesque, like, look what I do.
And Rand is like...
Rand's like, oh, it would have been so funny if Rand just puked.
I bet Matt somewhere is puking.
Yeah, I know that's the classic Matt move, but if Rand just was like, this is it, I'm throwing it back. That's disgusting. Moiraine immediately charges at Lanfear.
Yeah.
And Lanfear kind of smacks her and Lan out of the way. Moiraine goes rolling under a wagon, which I think is kind of funny.
John Wick style?
Yeah, John Wick style. And is like, Lanfear's like, which one of these women is Avienda? I'm going to fucking murder her. Does some, like, you know, pain shit. We don't really know what's going on since we're in Rand's point of view. We can't see the weaves.
Yeah, also, I don't think it's, like, super of note, but Rand puts up, like, a bubble because Lanfear has lit stuff on fire.
Lanfear's lit stuff on fire. I don't remember when.
I don't remember when it happens, but I just, like, wanted to note that, like, Matt and Asmodee are on the outside of the bubble.
Which, yeah, that is hard to track.
Yeah.
Because it all happens very quickly.
Yeah.
Which
like
makes it a good action sequence, you know. Lanfear's kind of torturing Edwina and Avienda. Rand manages to cut her weaves, and so she sort of refocuses on him. And then somewhere in there, he creates this bubble, because there are literally people on fire, because she's just sort of blown a ton of shit up. Mm-hmm. Like, this would be a very cinematic sequence, although one must hope that the skinning scene is edited to something a little more kosher.
Yeah, like, he's just gone.
Yeah.
She's covered in blood. There we go.
She's just like,
Carrie style.
Walking out of a Quentin Tarantino movie, like, hey, yo.
Who's Avienda?
Who's Avienda? Absolutely. Mascara running down.
Yeah, just unhinged.
Rand's like, oh. I mean, this is such a tonal shift for Rand. He's just on a walk, not even thinking about Lanfear.
I'm gonna kill Rod, and he's like, oh my god,
God.
another Forsaken.
So yeah, I guess Matt and Asmodean are on the other side of the bubble, so they cannot interfere, although...
Like, what could they do?
What could they do immediately, which I assume is Robert Jordan's thought process.
Yeah.
Like,
gotta keep them alive.
They can't do anything anyway, and they need to be alive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Lanfear would care enough about either Matt or Asmodean at this point to
she
do
has
anything.
Already pushed Matt to the side as not worth her trouble.
Yeah.
When she first saw him naked and skeletal in the White Tower.
What did she didn't quite appear as herself then, right?
No, I think she was.
Because it would have been so funny if we were Matt's point of view and he was just like, that lady saw me naked in the White Tower.
Like, and now she's bubbling.
And now she's playing. Okay.
Who is she?
Yeah, you gotta. Matt's like the lady doing geometry gif. Oh, and Asmodean's just like.
Asmodean's like, time to go.
Asmodean has a flashback to that scene at the end of The Shadow Rising where he's like, she's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill us.
Yeah.
And Rand's like, she's gonna kill you. She's not gonna kill me. She loves me. And Asmodean's like, what did I say?
Asmodean's like, told you so.
What did
Pulls out his cold brew.
He's limp wristing it.
Slurping his iced latte.
Oh, yeah, you gotta love that. Matt's like, let me in. And Asmodean's like,
do not let me in.
No, stay over there, please. But Rand and Lanfear sort of engage in some little power shenanigans where they're just sort of cutting each other's weaves. He's trying to force her back. She eventually climbs onto the wagon behind her and grabs an angriel, which we find out that Moiraine intentionally put there for her. For them, I guess, to both of them to use later. And she is attacking him then, just sort of torturing him.
Yeah. Rand is like laughing maniacally.
Yeah, Rand is having some identity crises here, where he is like, Mirren, I'm not yours. And I would, like, literally rather die than be in love with an evil lady. And she's like, no! But he is, like, he tells us this repeatedly, that if he were to open himself up to what Luz Thorin is offering him, that he would be able to defeat Lanfear. Presumably without killing her, which is his main roadblock here. But that he's worried about losing his own identity should he do that.
Yeah, which is, like, totally fair and valid, but it does lead to this, like, disgusting little paragraph where he, like, lists off all the women that have died, and he's like, even if she's gonna, like, blow up the whole planet, I can't kill another woman or something like
which
that.
even, like, the list isn't even that long. It's just, like, this woman that he killed back in Book 3 when he was, you know, on his post-Vietnam tour of Randland. And Ilyena and Matt, who has just killed a woman and looks understandably upset about it. Yeah. And he's like, I don't want that to happen to me. And it's like, what?
What? You have no brain cells.
He says he was going to die, perhaps the world would die, but he could not make himself kill another woman, which is just, like, the height of insanity. Like, why, if you're going to diagnose Rand, then here's the moment I posit where it's like, Rand's off his rocker. There is, to some extent here, not just, like, we've progressed into the territory of, like, you know, what's that famous quote about insanity? If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working.
Yeah.
This is what's happening here. Rand's whole stumbling block about not killing women is the same thing over and over again. And his inability to change it is just insane. But, you know, that isn't necessarily the point.
Yeah. It just becomes so obsessive. This, like, cannot kill woman.
It is obsessive, I would say, in the same way that Lanfear herself is a possessive figure over Rand's body and Rand's choices. Rand is possessive about literally just feminine how women move through his sphere, how he allows them to move through his sphere. By the way, none of the maidens are with him because he walked out and they were all gone. Mm-hmm. And Avanda's like, what the fuck did you do? You know, we can put together, he didn't invite them on his little raid to Ravin, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Rand wasn't even, by the way, planning to take, like, soldiers with him.
He was like, I'm just gonna go.
He was just gonna go, and then Moiraine was like, well, you're taking people with you, aren't you? And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess. Stupid.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know. The maidens are, at this point in the series, also pissing me off, because it's like they're just doing these big dramatic gestures and like they're not working, obviously, so maybe you guys should have like a more productive adult conversation or something.
Well, it's like either have a productive conversation or leave his ass.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who can bodyguard Rand.
Yeah, just be like, whatever, we're gonna do something. Like, I get it, there's all this like honor system at place, but it would be kind of hilarious if the maidens just like, the maidens are a big chunk of the Ale, right? Mm-hmm. They're just like, sorry, not fighting for you anymore. We're going to go fight for Edwene or something. That'd be amazing. Like, we're going to go find someone who actually respects us.
We're going to join the band of the Red Hand.
We're going to join the band of the Red Hand. Matt would love to have, like, an elite band of royal women. I would be like, fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm going to use these ladies to assassinate everybody.
Because then on Matt's little council of war would be Talmanes, Nalishan, and Sulin, which would be, like, the most powerful group of people.
Matt would be like...
And I would love it.
And my mom. As we all know, old women love Matt. So Sulin would be like...
So would be like, this is my son. And Matt would be like, yes.
This is my mom and my boyfriend and my boyfriend's boyfriend. They are my war council.
Ta-da! God. Fixing Wheel of Time. One very long book at a time.
Fires of Heaven is so long. I forgot how long this book was.
It is nearly 1,000 pages.
The circus just goes on for so long.
Thank God we're out. We then cut to Moiraine as she's getting up, wiping blood from her mouth, which is just, like, so fucking edgy and cool. She, like, spits some blood and is, like, climbs up on the wagon. She's like, okay, well, Rand is fully nuts. He's, like,
not
laughing.
Not a problem,
though. She's like, all right, well, someone else's problem for now.
Good luck. Cat's spawn.
She tells us now that this whole visual setup is something she's seen multiple times in her dreams, which really, like, brings up self-fulfilling prophecies. Presumably Moiraine this entire time has been working on this, like, vision, this visual. Yeah. And so she has manipulated, in a way, this entire setup.
Yeah.
Like, Rand wouldn't have gone to the docks where Lanfear was unless Moiraine dragged him there. Mm-hmm. You know? Lanfear wouldn't have access to this little angriel if Moiraine didn't put it there. Yeah. It's just this very, like, odd thing.
Yeah, the way people respond to, like, what they see in Ruidaean is very fascinating, because Lanfear, Moiraine's like, didn't you see, like, I saw this in Ruidaean, and then I keep seeing it in my dreams. So she's, like, actively bringing it about, whereas, like, Matt is like, goodbye.
Yeah.
And Avienda is also like, goodbye, like, I'm going to avoid it. And I think we talked about this in an earlier episode, too, where it's like, you can either run towards prophecies or run away of prophecies, like, they're gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But, like, yeah, it is very much like, would this have happened at all if Moiraine wasn't? I don't know, just odd.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, the nature of future, because how could she see, you know, it's a whole paradox. How could she see a future set in stone when it requires her own actions to set it into stone? It's wild. But it is also very characteristic of Moiraine. Of course, she would see her own death and be like, great, I will set it up perfectly.
I'm going to stage manage the fuck out of my own death.
I really am going to stage manage it. I'm going to write letters beforehand. I'm going to be wearing this fly outfit.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking very cryptically and odd to everyone for days.
So, but she's like, you'll do well, Matt.
Matt's like,
you'll be fine, Matt. And Matt's like, what?
I've never done well in my life.
What?
Don't insult
me. How dare you accuse me of doing well? But she, as, you know, goes out in a blaze of glory, body slamming into Lanfear, tackles her into the doorway, grapples the angriel out of her hand, by the way, first. And Lanfear, we know, is a tall lady.
Yeah, and Moiraine, we know, is a small lady.
Yeah. Moiraine's tiny, and she just, like, totally takes Lanfear off guard.
Yeah.
Just, like, sideswipes her into oblivion.
Yeah, awesome.
It is so powerful. So good.
It's one of the, like, top 5 Wheel of Time moments for me.
Yeah.
Where Moiraine is just, like, bleeding, small, and it's just like, beep.
Like a truck.
Yeah. Which is, like, all the weight of my 120 pounds is going into this woman.
Like, I mean, hats off. Here's hoping that the Wheel of Time show manages to get here at least, because I want to see Rosamund Pike just
tackle someone.
Tackle some lady into, you know, an alternate dimension.
It would be such a fun scene to film.
I know,
like,
wouldn't
we've
it?
got Rand crying, Matt and Asmodine in the background.
Like, what the?
Lan is knocked out somewhere.
Yeah, poor Lan.
Everything's on fire.
That would be a great scene. It's
and
a
here
very...
comes Rosamund Pike.
We've said this before, but Robert Jordan, for the most part, does great ending sequences.
Yeah, all of his climaxes and climactic sequences are, like, so good.
Yeah.
Even the scenes in Camelin that we're coming up on where they're, like, running around the Dream Palace and Teleron Riyadh, and it's very, like...
Yeah, the fact that those two things happen in the same book, that we have Moiraine doing this absolutely iconic, legendary move, and then it is immediately followed up by this whole fantasy sequence in Camelin, where Matt and Avienda are dead, we think.
Yeah.
And it's just like... Oh, man, we really... Yeah.
It is a funny, like, couple of chapters, because it's, like, Lanfear down, Robin down, Moghedien down.
All at Asmodean down.
Yeah, Asmodean down.
We have 4 Forsaken knocked out of the game in this.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking 2 of them will be back, which is so annoying, but...
But, like, for the time being, we have knocked out...
Like, Fires of Heaven is the most efficient Forsaken killing book that we have, I think.
Forsaken Kill Squad is doing a great job.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is 5 is one of the best books purely for this climactic sequence alone. It is very good.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it more next week, I guess.
We got 2 episodes left in this season.
2 episodes, unless for some reason we find a shit ton more to talk about, and it's going to take us forever. But, per the reading schedule, 2 more episodes. And then we will, I don't know, usually do an extra. Then we usually go on a hiatus between seasons, which we might have to do anyway because we're moving. And then on to season 6. God bless America.
I don't really remember a lot about... Is it Lord of Chaos?
It's Lord of Chaos, and I can tell you everything you need to know about it. Boring.
Gets put in a box.
It's so boring.
Egg is made the Amberlane in a very transphobic scene.
Yes.
And,
there's only like 3 mad sequences that tells you everything you need to know.
Perrin's there?
Perrin is there, briefly. He meets the in-laws.
Oh, yeah.
So Bashir is there.
Coming.
Yep. Good news. Dad!
Dad! You're my dad. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
But that's that.
That's that.
Rip Moiraine until 8 books from now. Sorry, I had to do some math.
A long time without my mom.
Yeah. But what a way to go.
What a way to go.
You can't see us, but we're holding our fists aloft in
solidarity.
victory. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thank you to Glenn and Mackenzie for our theme song. Thank you. We said this already, but in case I edited it out, thank you to all of our patrons. Mm-hmm. You make many things possible, including the fact that we're moving into a bigger space.
Yeah, and also if we edit it out, which we probably will because it was kind of an odd little sidebar. But right now our goal on Patreon is to get to $600, which would help us pay rent. We said at that point we were going to get a studio, but with COVID impacting things and our lease coming up, we are going to go ahead and move. So we will switch that goal just in the notion of transparency, and we'll find something else. But we're going to keep it as like a way to help pay rent, getting up to $600. That's kind of confusing. If you have questions, just email us.
Join us for our many various things happening on Patreon, the Final Fantasy 15 live stream, tons of stuff going on. Do you have a sign off?
Yes. I wanted to tell you guys, following up on a sign off from a few weeks ago, that the infamous fundraiser rat has returned. We're having another fundraiser on the same lawn at the aviary. This one is like a movie series with like, I think there was like 15 people there or something. But there was like a bunch of kids. And like right towards the end of the movie, it was dark, but me and my coworker just saw this like quite large shadow run out of the bushes. And her and I just like looked at each other. And I was like, oh boy, here you go. So I had to pull out my flashlight and go, like, shuffle over and, like, shine my flashlight at him until he ran it back into the bushes.
God, wait, so he, like, came out to watch the movie?
Yeah, probably.
That's kind of nice, but also, like...
I was also like, I can't really have you, very big rat, around
Around the children.
the children. People will start screaming. It will be chaos. The Lord of Chaos reign.
Oh my god, that brat is the Lord of Chaos. Hot take.
So anyway, fundraiser rat, Lord of Chaos has returned.
Oh god.
Stay tuned, I have another fundraiser on the 19th.
Dun, dun. Thanks for listening, all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.